Hello and welcome to the Small World Podcast, a podcast where you are the topic of discussion. My name is Chris Long.
I'm Austin Newborn.
And I'm Nathaniel Pearson.
And this is episode 2. OM Goodness Pimento Cheese, future heir and host of the Speedy Car Memes Instagram page that currently has over, 37,000 Instagram followers?
It's 38.4 currently and dropping. But it's
I'm
gonna
sorry,
rise.
and dropping?
Yes,
Right.
but it's going to go back.
You shadow man.
Yeah, I'm shot out, man. I didn't post anything, but it's whatever.
James Flowers, ladies and gentlemen.
How's it going, y'all?
How does it, what's it like to be shadow banned?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. At first, it's very confusing. And then you just have to realize there's nothing you can do. So you just live life.
How does one find out that they're shadow banned?
So they didn't send me a message saying I messed up. So I actually had to look in my analytics and see that a non-follower viewing dropped by like 95% or something. So it used to get per month maybe like 1 million views. Well, now but non-viewers have dropped. So now I get maybe like 100 views per post.
So what did you post to get shadow banned? I'm curious now.
I would love to know myself. I've sent a message and no reply back.
That's been a popular issue with TikTok. They haven't really figured out their terms and conditions yet. I mean, but we'll have to see what they do with that.
Speaking of TikTok, speaking of TikTok,
Oh, okay.
the Small World Podcast has a TikTok that you can follow. Shameless plug.
It's popping. Like a lot.
It's popping, yeah. So you
should
better
follow.
ride the wave before you get left behind.
Yeah. I mean, it is. There's tons of FOMO right now. We've been asking for sponsors. They haven't responded. They just don't see the potential right now because, I don't know, they're stupid, I guess.
Dr. Pepper, man, what's going on?
I don't know. What do you think, James?
Hey, it could work out. I don't know. You can tag them and everything, man.
Confidence. I need more confidence from you.
I mean, if Chris Fix could get a sponsorship with eBay Motors, why can't you get a sponsorship with Dr. Pepper?
I don't know.
Can we rely on your Pimento Cheese Company as a last resort?
Oh, well, I mean...
Really put him on the spot just now.
So, guys, that's some good pimento cheese.
It's so good.
You get that jalapeno stuff, dip a little I can't talk. Club cracker, that stuff's good.
Well, thank you. I mean, I don't know about sponsorship, but I mean, we do have a sponsorship on a race car, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where
Number
at?
8, the Black Pearl. In Eastern North Carolina and South Carolina, they go to races, and we have a sticker that's slapped on the side of their car.
Wow. How much does an ad like that cost? If you don't mind
They were
sharing the
very
analytics.
generous, and they were like, "Hey, we love your stuff. If you just like provide it for us, like, and give it to some of our fans, like, we'll put it on our car."
All it
And
costs
like,
is cheese.
We got you. So
The love of pimento cheese.
I mean, I'll be acceptable. If he just brings pimento cheese, I will talk about pimento cheese every single week.
Yeah, for sure.
okay.
Like, just bring
I might have to consider that.
Because I haven't eaten right now. Pimento cheese sounds really good right now.
Well, my goodness, I might have to consider that.
He may get us
higher
to-
ups as well.
You may get us to rename the podcast after the Pimento Cheese.
Welcome to the Pimento Cheese Podcast.
Sponsored by. Oh my goodness.
So, James, you have a collection of unique vehicles. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So when you say unique, they're all the same.
Well, yes.
they're
The vehicles you own are the same, but it's a unique vehicle to have a collection of.
So beyond my Hot Wheel collection, I have 3 Miatas. The first one I got, it's the one I drive every day. It's a 97. Last year, the pop-ups. Really girly sports car, if you even want to call it a sports car, but it's okay. So I got that one, and I drive that one every day. A fun car. Then I have my black one, which is a M edition. Only a few thousand were made of them, so they're pretty rare. So I'm hopefully gonna put that on the track someday. And I also have a green one that a guy spent like $5,000 on, and then he ended up flipping it over. So I got it for $350.
That's not bad at all.
So you might want to sit down and buckle up for this one. But my wife's brother has a 99 Miata with less than 20,000 miles on it.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. He owns that and a C7 Corvette. I don't know how he's
That's a
done
big
it,
difference.
but...
Hairstylists on one day and manly on another. Okay.
And he also has a healthy middle with a Honda Accord that is his daily driver.
That's not the middle. That's like the other end.
That's
The
like the
Miata's the
bottom.
middle there.
It's an Accord. Like,
I think anyone can own an Accord.
I know, that's what I'm
grandmas
saying.
own Accords.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
it.
is the Honda Accord the official sponsor of grandmas?
It has to.
Because I feel like every grandma I know drives a Honda Accord.
Either that or like a Buick LeSabre.
That, yeah.
They love
that's
Buicks.
like- so Buicks, they're like the 90-year-old woman car. Accords are like the 50 to 60-year-old woman car.
That's the difference between like the baby boomer grandma and the I don't know what's both.
Gen X, I
Yeah,
don't know.
the next generation.
Old people.
Yeah, old people.
Old people. Shout out to old people.
Yeah,
Be the next
they're
sponsor.
kinda cool. Old people sponsor us.
We are now sponsored by Geriatrics.
There you go.
Oh man. So these Miatas have kind of taken a forefront in your meme page, correct?
Yes.
Do you have one that's your favorite? I know they're all like your kids, but
They're all my children. But I would have to say my red one.
Yeah.
So just because the story behind it has like more of a story of how I got it and the story of how it belonged to an FBI agent and how he did like stuff in it. And
Oh,
then
really?
Next thing you know, I bought it from him for
And
hardly
he's
nothing.
still watching.
are we allowed to talk about this on the podcast?
I mean, I believe so.
Okay, well then let's hear the story.
So, before I had the car, he was the first owner. He grew up next to my dad in Wilson, North Carolina. And he later went to go work for the military in the FBI. Well, apparently for one of his missions, it was like really cold. They called him up at night. So, he got one of those military leather hats you wear when you're flying a plane.
Mm-hmm.
He just popped that on and popped the top down on the Miata, and he took off when it's like 20 or 14 degrees, something like that.
20 or 14.
Yeah, like I'm
No other number in
Like,
between.
I forgot what it was. He was just saying
That's a big
He was
difference.
just saying like it was cold enough for it to snow.
Okay.
And he's
Okay.
going down the highway
Freezing.
and it freezing, and he with the top down, and he just gets there,
All right.
and he talked about how he did that, and just kind of cool guy. Yeah.
Nice.
How did you get it though?
So originally I was looking for a BMW E30.
I'm so glad you're not a BMW guy.
Well, my dad apparently is now, but
Oh.
he bought a Z4. But so I was looking for one of those. I was really into like rallycross, and I went to my dad's friend's birthday party. He's like uncle to me, and he was like, "Well, you know, I actually have a Miata because I heard you might be interested in it in my garage, and it's been sitting there for 10 years. Only
Wow.
has 80,000 miles.
Dang.
If you're interested, just let me know." So I was thinking it's gonna be a lot of money. I mean, those things go for a lot. Like right now, there's one with 60,000 miles going for 10 grand on Marketplace,
Wow.
and it's automatic, so it should drop the value. But whatever.
Here's some bias here.
Sorry to offend you, automatic people. Just keep driving. So I call him, and he's like, "Hey, so since you have to get the trailer and you have to drive all the way up to Virginia, I'll give it to you for $200." And I'm like, "Really?" So I said, "I'm down." So I go get a U-Haul. We drive up there, stay in a sketchy cabin. We grab it, bring it back. I thought it wouldn't run or anything. Wonderful condition. It ran on 10-year-old gas,
That's
Wow.
crazy.
and it's still running today.
Seems like the real price you paid for that is your safety.
I would say you're right. Like, that was a very sleepless night with all that humidity in that cabin. But it was worth it.
Moisty.
Very
So-
moisty.
You referred to your cars as your children. Would you say you have a problem child?
I would say yes. Probably my black Miata, just because it needs a new engine. So I guess it would be the black sheep in the family.
I mean, that is a pretty big issue.
That is, yeah. It's
Pretty sure that you need that for cars to run. I'm not a big car guy myself, but
I think you're right. I mean, I'm still learning.
You could Fred Flintstone that thing. I mean, it's Miata. It's pretty
Fred
you're right.
Flintstone.
You're right.
Oh
I could probably
man.
just hook a hairdryer up and it would encourage it.
There you go. No, just put 2 hair dryers facing backwards. Turn it on. There you go.
There we
Thrust.
go. We're set.
It's like space rockets.
Hey, maybe we can do that later.
Exactly.
So James, you are a college student, correct?
That is correct.
What are you majoring in, and where do you go to school?
So I go to Nash Community College. Let's go Nighthawks. I think that's her. I believe that's it.
remember that.
The
Orientation, bro. Like orientation, we had to memorize it.
What is a Nighthawk?
That is a good
That's
question.
a
The
good
opposite
question. I'd
of a
like to ask
Dayhawk.
you. It's just a.
Nighthawk.
I would love to know. Like it's just a hawk and it flies at night. I guess. So I guess it's like a owl.
There's a real big difference though if that night has a K before it. Do you know?
Yo, a Nighthawk? It's got like a
Night
lance
for
and
a
everything.
Yo, I never thought about looking at the spelling. That's pretty cool.
Well, he didn't even know the name of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think we're gonna get spelling out of
But
it.
I mean, I'm going for cybersecurity
I'm gonna
right now.
Google it.
And what do you want to do with that?
So my James goal is to get that, find a nice job, and just see where the Lord leads me. Maybe God might change my plans with doing other stuff, but I'm being called into mission work, so I believe it's one of those things. I can take this, find a job in the U.S., go to another country, Lord willing, and share the gospel there while having a job in the U.S.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome. So, for the listeners, you might not know this about us yet. We're actually recording episode 2 before we record episode 1, so we'll see if we get into this in episode 1. But all of your hosts are Christians, so that'll be a prominent theme of the podcast as we get more into it, is we are going to talk about faith and things of the nature. So
get used to it. Basically what we're saying.
but we do have an interesting grouping of backgrounds and belief here. So you're very into missions work in Honduras, right? You've been on a few missions trips, stayed down there a while.
Yes. We go through an organization called Sparrow Missions, and I'm going to be going on another trip here in a month and a half, and can't wait to see how God works there, building relationships and just sharing the gospel.
Gotcha. Awesome. Do you have any anticipation of what it's going to be like down there?
I really don't know what to expect this time because it's so different every time I go. It's just something you remember always changes.
Gotcha.
So like a
Interesting.
church could be bigger, or it could have moved in general. Ministries change all the time. So I just can't wait to see how God works and see how it impacts the people.
For the listeners who may not know, what's it like? Like, walk us through a day in the life of a Christian in Honduras.
So since I go on temporary trips, the longest I've stayed there is 2 months. So we do a lot with the organization Sparrow. But for us, our goal was to like build relationships, because you can share the gospel to someone on the street, but you can really share the gospel if you understand that person and actually build that relationship with them. So we would go into these different places, one place called La Carosa, and we would play with the kids and talk to the adults and just play football with them, soccer for us.
For the
For
white
us.
people.
Oh, well, I mean, for the gringos. And just build that relationship. And then the leaders are being built. So in this other community, people are living underneath anything they can find. But since Sparrow's gone in, the gospel is spread. There's leaders coming out of here, and now they're going out. Like, so far that they actually raised enough money to have their own mission trip to go to India to share the
wow.
gospel.
That's amazing.
And they have a whole testimony about it, about how they got stopped in Spain and all of that. It's an incredible story.
Dang.
Amazing to see how God works.
Do you not have your phone silenced for the recording?
My goodness.
Austin's an amateur, everyone.
Amateur move.
Oh, I did. That was very amateur.
Ugh, that was, oh
I had
man.
everybody a pack of water. Sorry.
Also, shout out to James, because before the podcast started, he brought us a gallon of water each.
He did.
That might be a slight exaggeration, but it's at least a liter.
That is a
problem.
We said we needed some water. He was like, I got you.
I mean, hey.
And you delivered.
Yeah, you got several podcasts today. Why not?
Okay, I do have a question for James that is kind of off topic for what we just talked about. But James is a very prepared person. And if you know James, you will know he always comes prepared. So usually there's something that triggers that in a person's life. So I'm kind of wondering, why is James Flowers always prepared for anything?
Okay, so, good question. One of my uncles, he actually carried a few knives on him, and he always said, if you need anything, like, no matter what you have on you, you always need a knife. It's the most important thing. And throughout Scouts, I noticed that was true. So I really appreciate that. Now I carry like 3 knives on me. Don't think I'm like carrying them all in my pockets and this. Like, I got 2 knives in my wallet. They're very, very small. And then I have one on my side.
So James is actually doing better than he used to, because at a point in time, Nate, you'll appreciate this especially, he would carry no less than 7 knives on his person at any one point in time.
So he's working down a little bit.
Yeah, I used to carry 2 knives in one pocket. I would have my assist, and I would have the butterfly knife, because they're actually legal in North Carolina. And it's like, they're kind of cool to use. Like, not gonna lie.
I mean, you look like, you look cool when you.
You look like Keanu Reeves using a butterfly
Can
knife.
you do like the spinning stuff? And all that?
I cannot do that yet, but I don't know if I want to learn. But then throughout Scouts, I with some other knives, by accident. But my uncle would always give me a penny, and he would say, "This one's free, but every time you cut yourself with a knife that I give you, you must pay me back a nickel."
How much have you paid him, James?
I've been fortunate, so I've only cut myself like maybe a few times when carving, but he was fine with it. So
He's really gonna say I'm $20,000 in debt, and $2,000 from that is in
listen.
college. The rest is
If I
life
made
money.
that deal, I would absolutely be $20,000 in debt. I have the worst luck with sharp objects.
Bowie knives.
Yes, I stabbed myself in the parking lot at where I used to work at, just trying to put the knife back in its sheath. I missed the sheath and stabbed myself in the hand. Had to get stitches that time, or no, I think I got it glued that time. But then,
you just like stab and twist, bro. Like,
yeah, it was like blood started squirting out of my hand. I was
gosh.
like, oh.
not in Herald.
Yeah. And then another time, I dropped a lemonade machine on my hand. Had to get stitches on my finger. I just have a bad luck with sharp objects. I don't need to be touching the scissors or knives or whatever.
Yeah.
Give you little safety scissors from kindergarten.
There you go.
I'll find a way to stab myself with those too. I promise.
I've only done it like, what are you saying?
On Monday,
You stabbed yourself again?
a retractable utility knife. No, get it away.
No, keep that away from him.
On Monday, I was using a hole puncher and punched a hole in my hand. You can still see where on the top of my palm. I was holding my hand above my head like this, and I was playing with the hole puncher, like just opening and closing it, and I just like took a chunk of skin off because I just like punched the hole in my hand.
See, I thought mine was more embarrassing than that, but I think he already beat it. I don't even know if I can say mine now.
Go ahead, I want to hear it.
Well, I was playing with a stapler one time. And, you just like playing, shooting little staples on it, and I was kind of fiddling with my hand, and I heard a click, and I felt a sharp pain in my thumb. And I was like, what did I just do? And I was like, I don't even want to look down. And I started just slowly looking down, and I see a staple, and I look up, there is a staple, just one side, in my thumb, and I try to bend my thumb, and it's between the joint.
Oh!
It's all the way in there, and I can't bend my thumb, and I just look at it, and I'm like, do I pull it out? Do I ask for help? Do I call the ambulance? I don't know what to do. So I just kind of looked at it, yanked it. It didn't bleed, but my thumb still couldn't move. So I was like, is this permanent?
Is this permanent?
But it started moving, but when I finished, I just looked into the sky, and I'm like, I just stapled myself.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I hole punched my hand.
Like, yeah. You're just like, why did I do that? 'Cause that
What
was totally
prevented
my
you
fault.
from asking for help in that moment?
What prevented me?
Embarrassment?
Embarrassment, yes. That very much so embarrassing. Because there's people in the room, and I just kind of hit it. I was like, I didn't make a noise. I was just like,
You're just
I
over there
stopped.
like,
Exactly.
You okay over there, Austin?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just doing great.
I thought I heard something.
There's that clicking noise. Don't worry about it.
I actually had to retire one of my knives because it was crazy. It used to open up by itself. It was a spring assist, but the spring on it was very powerful. So it would just click open if you just like throw it on the ground. So every time you drop it, it would fly open.
So you just have that sucker in your pocket one day, and you're like,
Well, that almost happened a few times. So out of all places, I was at Goodwill, okay? And I had my knife in my pocket, and I saw some jeans or some khakis or something, and I was like, you know what? I'm going on a trip. These khakis might work. So I go into their changing room,
fresh fit.
and my side pocket taps the wall. And then I hear cling. I'm like, what?
oh.
And I'm like, that's weird. So I'm about to pull my pants down to try it out in the dressing room. And there's literally a hole with a knife blade shoved out of my pocket.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, how did that happen? So I go to close it. I try on the pants. I leave. It happens again later that day. I'm like, okay, we're
Did the
tired of
pants
this.
fit?
I don't know. All I remember is that night, bro.
Too
Like,
traumatized.
More pressing matters.
like, I would sharpen that sucker. So like,
Oh, so it wasn't just
it wasn't a dull knife. It was sharp.
It was a surgically sharp knife that you wouldn't even notice it.
Oh yeah.
The positive of this story is that at least any clothing item you might have messed up in that store, you could have paid for.
That's very true. That's very true.
It's not like you were in like an Express in the mall or something. Not that that's expensive, but compared to Goodwill.
yeah,
Oh,
if
yeah.
there's a place to tear your pants, it's definitely in the middle of Goodwill.
That
At
is
least
the
it was
best
Goodwill.
spot.
Yeah. I mean, like, it could have been Target, but that would have been more expensive. Like, Goodwill
Yeah, it was
was
like
the
$30.
prime place to be.
That'd be awkward. Just hearing clink in the room next to you, and then
It would have been more than a for me.
The attendant looks
Yeah,
over.
blood rolls up underneath the. You okay there, James?
James is unresponsive.
Wow. All right, that got dark.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, the
man.
second episode. Oh, man.
Episode 2. Man, we made it, guys. Most podcasts don't make it episode 2. Actually, I was looking at the analytics, or not the analytics, but I just searched the name of our podcast onto Spotify, and there are 3 other podcasts named Small World or that have the name Small World in it. None of them recorded a single episode past November 2021.
So we're good.
We're good, yeah. We're taking the Small World podcast name.
You hear that? Copyrighted, guys. So, shove off.
Hey, Dr. Pepper.
Change your
It's
name.
the opportunity.
At Dr. Pepper.
Add Dr. Pepper.
I just thought it was weird though because they all stopped recording in November 2021. I was like, what happened that all the small worlds, like, did the world get bigger?
I guess
Is that in December the world got bigger and they couldn't use the name anymore?
so. I don't know.
Mandela effect.
Maybe.
Maybe something like that.
For our sake, the world better be getting smaller though, because
James, do you listen to any other podcasts?
No sanctity required from Snowbird.
No sanity.
Oh, me. No,
No
sanity.
sanctity required.
No sanctity.
how did you get that? No sanity.
Sanity, bro.
Yeah, that's a great podcast. I love that podcast.
All right. Don't listen to it though. Listen to ours.
Well, I mean, listen to that also, but listen to ours first.
No,
So you can just so we
listen
get
to
the
ours.
watch
Okay.
time, like put theirs on mute and just listen to this.
Exactly. Yeah, put theirs on mute that they get the the analytics and look, we're doing good. But actually listen to ours.
I
because
mean,
we have
listen, I love our podcast, right? But I feel like theirs is more spiritually enriching.
That's true.
probably.
So I would love to promote both.
Okay, we're talking about stapling our hands and hole punching our hands.
Yeah, I
snapping
think.
our jeans.
You need
No.
a good variety of podcasts in your life.
Oh, absolutely. I listen to no less than 5 podcasts weekly, which is insane.
I listen to 2.
2. What are they?
Okay, don't make fun of me.
I won't.
They're good. These are guys. They're very spiritual.
Okay.
They are on point. They also do some news, and they're also kind of comedy. But they are called Rick and Bubba.
Rick and Bubba.
Rick and Bubba. They're good.
Memorable names.
They are memorable. And
I
they're-
said I wasn't gonna make fun.
Rick, and they're from Alabama. If that makes you any better.
Ooh.
Oh, you're making it real hard.
But then I listen to Al Mohler, so
Oh yeah, the daily
the
briefing.
Daily Briefing.
Oh man.
I haven't listened to that, I don't think.
It's
I
good.
listen to Wretched Radio and Frank Turdick sometimes.
You should listen to the daily briefing. That's where I get my news from. It's Albert
You
Mohler.
got the introduction, don't you? The introduction.
Oh yeah, the doo 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 doo.
exactly.
Almost sounds like the Home Depot theme song.
It does almost sound like
Nate, do you listen to any podcasts?
There's some political I listen to just to get some news, but I also listen to not really podcasts. I like Pat McAfee for sports content.
That's a
And
podcast.
I listen sometimes to peer to peer on YouTube, which is it's about everything, and some of their content's not so great, but I mean every once in a while I listen in to see what they're talking about because there's some good gaming related and lifestyle content in there time to time.
Nice. On a week-to-week basis, I have a commute every day to go to school because I go to school like 45 minutes away from life. So I listen every week to The Old Man and the Three, which is JJ Reddick's podcast.
It's a great one.
Love that podcast. The Long Shot podcast, which is Duncan Robinson's podcast.
Another great one.
All basketball related, but those are the only sports podcasts I listen to. I also listen to No Sanity Required. There's a really good one called Doctrine and Devotion that Austin, I think you should look up. It's 2 pastors. They're both Reformed Baptist. They have really good stuff. Like their last episode, the title of it is Spanking Biblical?
Ooh.
So lots of good topics.
Yeah.
And then I listen to the Briefing and Church Stories podcast, which is shouts out to Shama and PD, because I would never have wanted to start a podcast without Church Stories, but here we are.
There we go. And James is our first guest. What does it feel like to be the first guest of the Small World Podcast, James?
It feels great.
Okay. We'll get him a t-shirt.
Hey,
The feeling
I'll
is
definitely give
surreal.
y'all promo. So there we
Yeah,
go.
because you have way more followers than us. So that would
Yeah,
be
you
cool.
do.
Well, not for long. Y'all are gonna catch up and skyrocket.
How many
Come on now.
TikTok likes do we have right now?
You know what the good news is, Austin?
What?
We're not shadow banned. Hey!
Right. We just got another follower on Instagram. Look at that. Who is it? We have a total
Yo, what's my buddy
of
Matt? Shout out to Matt Sessoms.
We have a
Oh,
total
shout
of
out Matt.
Thank you.
13
He must have saw my
followers.
TikTok about
14
y'all's TikTok.
followers.
14 followers.
We just gained a follower as we were speaking.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be our 15th follower,
Go
before we've even officially recorded an episode,
Just go
you
ahead
could
and
be
do
number 15.
it. And how many do we have?
No rewards are promised.
No rewards are promised.
You will not get a free T-shirt, but you can go buy a free
Buy a free
Yeah,
t-shirt.
You can go buy a T-shirt, and we have a total of 31 followers on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
And
Wait, so
2,000
what was the 14?
that? Was Instagram.
Oh, okay.
We got 31, and our consistent follower. I'm gonna give him a shout out. because
Two
this
platforms?
guy- where is he? Because he likes every single video, and he's very consistent. What's
Okay.
his name? I can't even read it. Jacob Hamama. That's his name.
Jacob Hamama.
Jacob Hamama.
So if you're listening,
You're the
Jacob,
best. You are our first fan. So,
shouts out to Jacob.
I like Jacob because he likes all my posts.
What a guy.
Hi,
Sounds
Jacob.
amazing.
What a guy.
Welcome to the Small World Podcast.
How are we doing on time over there, Nate?
Oh, we're at the 28-minute mark.
Good, good,
That's
good.
pretty good.
We're filling it out.
We are. It's like we're actually doing a podcast or something. We're actually somewhat decent at it.
So,
Who would have
James,
thought?
what?
I said, who would have thought?
Oh, wow. That was a very unprofessional 10 seconds of content we just had. Two people talking over each other and then someone coughing.
It's like it's our first podcast or something.
Wow, that's great.
Wow.
Hey, guys, this is episode 2.
Oh, sorry. Episode 2, people. Don't just ignore what I'm saying. So, but what were you going to ask, James?
So we talked about Honduras. We talked about the Speedy Car memes. What is your favorite meme that you posted on the Speedy Car memes?
Okay, so probably my most popular one. Posted it probably like 2-3 years ago. It was during the Area 51 raid,
I remember that.
and there was a meme platform of a guy doing the Nardo run and all of that, and I made fun of automatic cars. I'm sorry once again. And it shows him running towards the Supra. Everybody loves it for some reason. Kind of overrated.
I like the Supras.
Don't hate me. I mean,
Supers are nice.
and it shows him running towards it, and then it shows it's automatic, so then he starts running away. And next thing you know, I believe it was 350,000 likes on it.
Wow.
And these big accounts started reposting it, and it really surprised me.
Is that where most of your growth came from? Was that era?
Yeah, around that time, Instagram, they like favored me or something. I don't know.
They
And
promoted you?
They promoted me a lot.
Gotcha.
Well, you're actually a real person posting, not a bot. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I look like a bot now, but I try to post twice a day.
you're very consistent. Like you are on top of it. So, you do not look like a bot.
So you're one of the only things that came out of the Area 51 raid.
I guess you're right.
That's crazy.
Was the Area 51 raid before or after COVID?
That was before.
Before.
You're right. So it was 3 years ago. Oh my goodness.
Maybe that's where COVID came from.
From Area 51.
That's what we're not talking about, but that's what we should be talking about.
So what's coming out of there
Is this a
now?
conspiracy theory podcast now?
It can be.
It came
All
from
of a
the
sudden.
aliens, bro.
Listen, I don't think anyone's ever thought of this before. We could be the first, guys.
It's
Could be.
punishing all the people that ran up. They thought they could
Nice.
eliminate them.
Yeah.
They thought they could eliminate the crowd of people by
With
releasing the
COVID.
virus.
That was September 2019. People started getting sick in December.
What did we find in Area 51?
We found COVID.
Guys, if this is the last episode of the podcast, just know they had us whacked.
Even though like 80% of podcasts stop after episode 2, they whacked us.
Guys,
Yeah.
Whacked us.
please go follow so we can get popular enough that we cannot be taken down so easily.
Exactly.
We
Please
need
do
you.
that.
Do you think the FBI could kill Joe Rogan right now on a whim?
Probably.
I think they could. They have that power, right?
I mean, yeah.
They can make it
You
look
got
like an
your-
accident.
You got your car from an FBI agent. What do you think?
I mean, sure.
Sure. You hear that?
I guess. I don't know.
That is a confirmed source. He knew it.
That is the
Anyone-
voice
Oh,
of a
yeah.
man.
knows a guy.
I know a
Anyone
guy.
that can ride with their top down in 20-degree weather can knock off anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Especially Joe Rogan.
Especially.
So,
Isn't he located like in Texas?
Yeah, he's
So
from
I guess
Austin.
you don't have to worry about the cold weather. It's just now it's even easier.
Yeah,
he doesn't need the leather hat. He can just go without a hat now.
his hat is the leather. Wait,
Joe
his
Rogan
head
and
is the
FBI
leather, is what I meant.
Are you
Not
talking
the
about
hat.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
They still laughed.
Yeah, I mean,
Little laugh.
I'm a
fine.
visual person, okay.
Oh, okay.
so Austin, James, and I recently went on a trip.
We did.
Words are hard, and
I almost
while
killed
we were-
James.
That's
oh, that's another story we have to tell. We'll tell that one
I
after
thought you
this
were
one.
talking about that one. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there for sure.
Okay.
But
Continue.
while we're sitting in the room, James and I are on a bunk bed. He's on the top bunk. I'm on the bottom bunk. And he just goes, I don't even remember what the punchline was, but I just hear, yeah, I'm a visual learner. So here's the setup. And so he sets this joke up, trying to get it in a visual manner for us. Do you remember what the joke was?
I really don't, but I remember you were like, I like how you had to like set it up, and I'm thinking it's so annoying because that's how I think. Like I'm a visual guy.
I'm a visual learner. That's gonna be your
Tagline.
your tagline.
Yeah,
James the visual learner.
Visual learner.
Yeah, what is it? The meme or the Smash Brothers intro. James.
The visual learner.
I'll have to do that with some stuff. Oh yeah.
Don't sing that. We'll get copyright.
Oh shoot.
Put that in my bio.
His biggest weakness is audiobooks.
James sees an audiobook.
Bro, I'm going down the road. Here's an audiobook book, and I just visualize what's happening 20 miles off the road.
Oh, that's how
James said, simply look at it.
I can see your words.
So
I
James,
like your funny words, Magic Man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask him if he had a big collection of picture books then.
Oh, I mean, my mom was big into scrapbooking, but like,
Oh, okay. So you have picture books then?
well, I mean, I'm partially dyslexic, so one of those things. Yeah, growing up, I actually did look at a lot of books, and I liked looking at like all the different images and stuff. And my dad, it's his fault he got me into cars because I had a hard time reading. So you'd pass me a bargain trader and you'd just go, read me what the cars say. So I would find a car I like and you'd say, tell me about it. So I'd have to read it out. The next thing you know, I became a car guy from it, and now I just can't get away from it.
Now
Wow.
James is broke.
And now I'm broke.
Oh, man. So, I said we would come back to it.
Oh,
Tell the story of how, also, Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry I never told you this story before, but you get to hear about it now.
Yep.
Tell us the story of how we all almost died on the way to Andrews, North Carolina.
So, well, you saw it from the front perspective.
Oh, yeah.
So, it'd be my perspective then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Yeah, we're hearing it from Austin.
yeah, and James is involved in it. It's not just all about us, it's about James.
Mm-hmm.
So, he'll give this perspective. That's a hard word.
Perspective is a hard word.
After my perspective. But anyways, we're driving down the road. It's snowing a lot. Like, how much would you say it was snowing?
That was, okay, so we're from North Carolina. We don't get a lot of snow often, but that was the most amount of snow that I've seen fall out of the sky at one time.
Yeah, and it was in big old snowflakes, like chunky snowflakes. And it was the kind that was like wet too. In your words, how would you call those?
Oh, moisty, bro.
Exactly. So they were just big old wet snowflakes, moisty snowflakes, snowy flakes. Got some
Moisty snowflakes.
Moisty snowy flakes.
But anyways, it's pouring down this snow, and traffic's kind of going up a little bit. And I'm like, this is getting a little sketchy. Chris is over there typing on his laptop. I couldn't remember the name of a laptop. Typing on his laptop, doing his homework and doing a article actually.
Yeah, I was writing an article for the newspaper that I work at.
There you go, writing an article. And I'm sitting there. I'm already kind of white knuckle because it's snowing a lot, as we already previously mentioned, and
Hey, Austin, was it snowing?
a lot. Yes, it was just snowing, guys, and and I'm driving along, white knuckle, look ahead. James has stopped. Like, I'm going 60 miles an hour. James is stopped. I'm
Directly in front of us.
directly in front
Maybe
of us.
2 car lengths.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm about to kill myself. Chris, I forget who else was in the car with us because I was scared. Everybody in James's car.
It was just Tim, right?
Was it just Tim?
It was just Tim.
Because Ethan left already. So just Tim. So Tim almost died too.
Shout out to Tim.
Hi Tim. And then
Tim's not gonna listen to this.
Tim Jim.
and then
I'll send him this part.
okay. And James is in the other car, and you have Dalen, Lindsay, and I forget
Ellery.
I almost called her Ellery.
I know you did. That's
And
how I was
then-
waiting for
The
it.
names get really confusing, to be honest.
And
So, like,
so they're up there. I start tapping on the brakes because I'm like, if I slam on it, I'm going to slide. It's snowing. I'm going to slide. I'm going to crash. My big, beautiful truck will be scrap metal. And I was thinking, I'm like, lives, truck. So I kind of start tapping the brakes. And I'm like, okay, I might be able to stop. And I was like, I'll go to the left. I won't hit him. Somebody already thought of that, and here comes a car flying beside me, avoiding from hitting me. And I looked in the right mirror, and I'm like, that's a semi. He's got his right blinker on. Either hit James and kill them or just kill us and the semi driver potentially. So I was like, I'll go here. So I went over there, and right as he went by, he actually went into the other lane. I went between James and the semi, and I look in my mirror, and nobody's in lanes anymore, by the way.
Yeah,
We're
lanes
just
stop existing.
It was like we were in rush hour in New Delhi. Like just cars everywhere. Nothing is going right. We're about to die. Chris looks up. I think he's having a heart attack.
I was.
He was having a heart attack. He's okay now, though.
shout out to Life Alert.
Life alert.
Shout out to Life
He hit
Alert.
that button. He was good. And yeah, we somehow survived. Jesus took the wheel.
Jesus had to have taken the wheel because I looked up and all I saw was James. And like James got closer and closer
Rapidly.
I started slamming my foot on the like imaginary brake on my side like this was driver's ed.
He almost put a hole in my floorboard.
I had to have because I'm just typing away, look up, and I'm like, oh, it's James. Oh, that's James. He's just getting closer and closer. So what was it like from your perspective?
So I'm just driving, and there's this white SUV in front of me. And next thing you know, like, without any time, like, he just slams on brakes. I see his brake lights, and I'm like, oh, I gotta slow down. So I slow down, and I'm like, I better look in my mirror and see if Austin's okay. Everybody in the car is not looking behind us. They just saw that we were braking for this car. And I'm looking in my mirror, and I see him get closer and closer, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun. And I don't like using the word crap, but I was like, crap. And then everybody's like staring at me, and then I see this truck come like Thomas the Tank Engine, like flying towards us. And I hear, and it's because he had his truck actually slide a little bit from where he pressed the brakes and he turned right. Well, I was gonna try to merge, but that semi he was talking about was in that lane. So if I dodged, I would have got hit in the rear by a semi. So I was like, well, it's up to Austin now. And then
It's all on him.
it's all on him. I mean, I did the best I could. And then that Volvo took the left spot. It got in between Austin and the wall, and
It was chaos.
it was crazy. And then we got separated, and then I called him and like, hey, like,
He called me
You okay?
20 minutes later asking if I was okay.
yeah, 20 minutes later.
We're out of the snow at this point, by the
Like,
way. We made it
yeah.
ahead of the snow.
Like, I was concerned, but I mean, I don't like being on the phone with snow flakes like the size of like, I don't know.
Of Nate's dog.
Yeah, Nate's dog.
That's a perfect
Nate has the world's tiniest dog, by the way. I've
probably
never
a
seen
cat.
a dog that small in my entire life.
It's tiny. But anyway, snowflakes.
But yeah.
For
It
context.
was
Shout out to Zoe.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zoe.
Yeah. Yeah, but we almost died. I guess it would have been my fault, maybe. I don't know.
It's
I blame
nobody's
the car.
fault. Yeah.
Nobody's fault.
I mean, I was trying to be careful with my parents' car, and then I later ruined that.
Let's talk about that.
Yes,
Let's talk
please.
about that. So, James, what did you do to your parents' car a few days later?
Okay.
Wait, can we make it a surprise? Can we tell the story and then, like, let the ending happen?
What do you mean, like?
Like, don't say what happened. Just
Okay.
tell the story.
Just tell the story.
So-
well, pause before you get to it because you have a comment
Context.
Some
Okay.
context.
We all had a great weekend. We didn't die at that the snow part.
No, we aren't
It
good.
snowed like all weekend, so it was pretty dangerous the whole time. After we almost ran into James, we did not say a word for 10 miles down the road. I swear, me and Tim just looked at each other, and then we all looked straight ahead. I've never been more focused on someone else's driving in my entire life.
My hands have never sweat that much in my entire life.
So we had a great weekend after that. On the way home, we stopped at a barbecue place for lunch because Austin is a tour guide and likes stopping at exotic places.
Exactly.
So we stopped and had lunch and continue the story.
So I had a really, really bad headache from that morning till we got there. So I ate the barbecue. It was really good. I guess it wasn't barbecue. I had brisket because their barbecue wasn't Eastern North Carolina barbecue, the real stuff. So
Ooh, popping shots.
yeah, man.
I disagree.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
I'll never
Ladies,
get invited.
ladies,
I'm sorry,
please.
y'all.
You're wrong.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Your barbecue is trash. Son.
You're
But,
trash.
either way, I had a really, really bad headache, like really bad, couldn't get rid of it. And there was this pole I dodged when I went to go park my car. And it ended up in my blind spot. And I had this headache. Austin pulled out. I have to follow him.
Can I stop you right
Yeah,
there?
go ahead.
So, as we were in the parking lot walking to the truck, Chris looks at this pole and says, James is going to hit that. We didn't even, we're like, yeah, haha, no, he won't. He's not going to do that.
James is a good driver. He's very careful.
He's very careful, especially in his parents' car. So we just kind of completely disregarded the fact that pole was there, didn't tell James, and we get this fun call.
Yeah,
Later.
so I get a phone call, and there was a delay, and I go, hey, Chris, where you guys at? Like, we getting gas still? And he's like, yeah. And I said, sorry, there was a inconvenience that happened, and I'm now heading. He's like, you hit the pole. And I was like, I hit the pole. And, yeah, when I backed out, my headache was just really bad. It was in my blind spot. I was looking at Austin's truck, and I'm like, I have to keep up with him. And I didn't slide the car. I just back up, and it hits. Left a small ding. Nothing else. My parents are cool. Whatever. And then shout out to Ellery and Lindsay. They were like, just tell them it was our fault. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Oh, wow.
like it's
They
on
try
me.
to take the fault for it?
But
Dang.
so I get going. So and then later on, my Miata I drive every day. The guy that actually backed into it. He was actually on the trip, and I later looked at the damage, and he was like, looks like we both don't know how to back up. And I was like, you know what? I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
That's
No,
another fun
you-
story of when Tim hit your Miata.
it wasn't fun.
We'll interview Tim.
We need to get Tim on the pod. That would be a
Tim on
good
the
guess.
podcast. He'll be like, yeah.
We'll save
All I
that
can
story.
think about during these stories is I was probably just chilling somewhere while y'all are fighting for your lives.
Nate's at home with Zoe while we're over there like, break! Break!
He's just petting the dog casually. We're holding a Dorito in one hand. Nobody.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I was proud of myself. I did not swear.
Listen,
None of
that
us
had
did.
to be the Lord right there. There's no other reason we didn't hit each other.
What was the
Yeah.
time frame on that story again?
Like 5 seconds.
5 seconds, literally.
No, I mean like when did it happen?
Oh.
3
o'clock?
Yeah, 3 o'clock on a Friday.
No, I mean what?
Like last weekend.
Last weekend.
Last
Well, dang! Last weekend I was
fresh
driving
in
through the
our-
mountains to Gatlinburg. So
Oh,
It's in
gosh.
the same area.
We run into him.
He's the one that slammed on the brakes.
no. Imagine it all
What kind of
connects.
car do you drive?
Did you slam on the brakes in Asheville?
No.
The whole time he's the guy in the semi ready to kill us, or he's the guy in the white SUV.
Oh man.
Yep.
He's the guy behind us that merged left.
I had.
It is.
I was taking a youth group to a conference. I had 3 teenagers in the car trying to drive.
Oh,
He's the FBI agent trying to hunt us down.
yeah.
So how much early 2000s pop music did you listen to on the way up there?
Not that much actually.
Really?
We listened to some contemporary Christian worship, of course.
Naturally.
We listened to some clean 2000s pop, but we also listened to some country.
Luke,
There was
probably.
and there's a young Latinx that goes in my youth group, and he was the only one singing the country songs.
Interesting.
He knew the words to every one of them.
What's his name?
Shout out Jose.
Shout out Jose.
Knowing
all the
was
country.
it Luke Combs though and Morgan?
It,
Wallen?
it wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay.
This is we're farther back than there. He we actually listened to some Johnny Cash too.
Okay.
Oh,
that makes
okay,
up
there
for
we
it.
go.
The Man in Black.
So since we're on the topic of music, James, some music. Tell us about your music taste. We're kind of getting
Okay.
towards the end of it, so we'll kind of start
Yeah.
going to some small talk here.
Time to start
So my
wrapping
music
up.
taste is weird. I have several playlists for different occasions. I got my long road one. I got my chill one, which, yeah. And but if you ever play my playlist, it's really weird. I have some classical music in there. I got Christian music, a few rock songs, and even some like good, bad, and ugly westerns. Like it's really weird. And
Got some Martin Robbins up in there.
Ooh.
I
Big
believe
iron
so.
on his hip.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
You're a big fan of Petra, aren't you?
I used to be.
Petra.
I mean, hey,
Why's that funny?
I mean,
They're a funny
I used to
band.
be a Striper fan, not a fan of them anymore after one of their albums. But
What happened? Let's
They-
put them on blast. What are they gonna do? Sue?
well, I mean, I just
Maybe.
actually, Michael Sweet, the singer, actually replied to my Facebook comment
Oh wow.
as they released a album and it had GD in the title. Personally, I don't think that's right, especially when you're like a Christian band. And so I just decided it got really, really rude on Facebook and stuff. So I thought, I'm just gonna back away from this. And I might like listening to Petra every so often, but I'm not as big into it as I used to be.
Gotcha. I just remember when we were younger, you talked about Petra a lot. That's what made me think of that.
Well, it's because I didn't know the songs y'all were playing. Okay. Like,
What?
yeah,
Hey,
I didn't know.
He's like, I don't know what kind of music you guys are into.
I mean, I was like just listening to Petra, Jekyll and Hyde, and then y'all were over there like playing NF or something. And I'm like, I don't know what this.
NF, the Christian youth group Eminem.
Oh,
Pretty
my
much.
goodness. Man.
While we're on the topic of Christian music, can we talk about how Winter Jam brings Skillet to headline every 3 years, like on the dot as like a ritual?
So
Skillet.
I saw this TikTok earlier of this dude who has a tattoo on his elbow, and it looks like a ball with several points sticking out of it. I promise this is related. It's going to sound very unrelated, but it's related. And so he had this thing where he talked about, or someone asked him, why is there a tattoo of a star on your elbow? He said, it's not a star, it's a butthole. Let me tell you the story. So long story short, apparently Charlie Daniels performed at his hometown every year. And so one year he got very drunk and like met Charlie Daniels and was very mean to him. So Charlie Daniels said, you're as useless as a butthole on an elbow. So he woke up and it was tattooed on his elbow. I say that to say I feel like that is the same way that Skillet does with Winter Jam, where they're just there every year. And I forgot this part of the story. It's kind of essential to it. The dude was like, all you do is you play The Devil Went Down in Georgia and then you go home. Skillet, all you do is you play Monster and then you go home. It's the same thing every year. What are we doing?
When's the last time Skillet made an album?
They actually released one this year.
Really?
Wow.
It sounds. I mean, I just checked it out because I was like looking at their page because I have some kids in my youth group that like Skillet. So I
I'm
was,
sorry.
wow, but no, I was looking at it and it sounds different. Like it's a different rock vibe. It sounds like they're trying to modernize some. They finally made it out of 2010.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Whatever happened to Red? Do you remember Red?
I do.
Red was there on the years that Skillet weren't.
They really were.
Knockoff Skillet. Now, how about this? I'm gonna go even further back. Do you remember Grits?
Yeah, because they had that one song with Toby Mac. My life be like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know that song actually charted off of like Christian music.
Grits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grits was
didn't know that.
considered a Christian rap band.
That's crazy.
Huh.
Back in the day.
Here's something we need to talk about real quick. So recently, well, not recently, I guess this was a couple months ago, I got into DC talk, right?
I knew this was coming. I sensed it.
We just said Toby Mac. We're on the topic. So we where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I just want to mention how heavily Michael Tate carried DC talk. Because going back and listening to it, Toby Mac was so cool when you were 12.
It was very cool.
But now, like, Michael Tate carried DC talk. That's all I had to say.
I remember Toby Mac cassettes like that would just be sitting around places, and I was.
I still have a Portable Sounds album. like on CD.
Portable sounds. What a throwback.
Sounds.
You
But
think we could get Toby back on the podcast?
probably could. He's on a lot of stuff right now.
Mm.
I don't know. If
Maybe.
we get Toby back, I want John Foreman. John Foreman's the best.
I'd rather have Michael Tate. Anyway, how are we doing on time, Nate?
We are at 52 minutes.
That's pretty good.
Sounds like a good point to be wrapping things up.
Yeah.
James, do you have anything that you would like to give any closing remarks about?
I don't think so. Just hope this podcast goes well, and yeah, hope to see y'all again in the future, possibly. Or thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
Yeah,
the shout out.
no problem. Thank you for this opportunity, and I've learned some stuff here today, like a butthole and a elbow. So we all left with something we didn't know.
That's true.
That is very true.
All right. Well, this has been the Small World Podcast. I'm Chris Long,
I'm Austin Newborn.
And I'm Nate Pearson.
and our guest.
James Flowers.
All right. Well, we will see you on the next episode next week.